What's up, y'all? The presidential election and also the Senate and House races are over. Well, we could just say that. I will say it. And now let's have a look at what we know that Donald Trump won by pretty solid margins everywhere, but just how big, just how much of a landslide was this? Let's talk about that and let's get into it. So, I just want to start with the biggest shockers to me. Let's start with Illinois that went to Kamala Harris by just a shocker 8.2%. That was definitely not expected, and no one was actually anticipating that. It was just 8.2%, and it's mostly reported at this point, and that was unbelievable. Illinois went to Kamala Harris last race, sorry, to Joe Biden by about, I don't exactly remember the margin obviously, but it was 16 to 20 points, and it's been narrowed down to this. Well, these states that I'm going to talk about actually contributed to Donald Trump's lead in popular vote, and that's 3.5% at this point. It's going to narrow down, of course, but how much exactly is it going to narrow down? Is it going to go below 3%? That's not even clear at this point. Obviously some analysts and the YouTubers and others were saying that he won by 3.5%. Well, when the votes are counted, yes, definitely that's going to shrink a little bit, but it's crazy. 3.5% win for Donald Trump. That's amazing for him. Well, now let's have a look at New Jersey. New Jersey actually went to Kamala Harris by 4.3%. That was the biggest shocker to me. I was not anticipating that. I could not fathom New Jersey going below 5 points, and Trump was able to, massive number of voters. We saw that big rally in New Jersey a few months ago. I hope you guys remember that was one of the biggest rallies of Trump, and I was saying that New Jersey, I think, is going to be close. I thought it would be close, and turned out to be closer than I thought, definitely. I mean, if you had two polls in New Jersey, one was showing 12 points lead for Trump, and that was, by the way, a Republican pollster, and the other one was showing 2%, was projecting about 20% lead for Kamala Harris, and that was a really independent pollster. Imagine how much of this was definitely something of a landslide victory in New Jersey, and this also contributed to his massive margin of victory in terms of the popular vote. Again, I will remind you guys that this was supposed to be a razor thin margin race for either candidate, and actually Kamala Harris had a massive lead in generally in the popular vote, and she was not able to retain that and ended up losing it. And well, she's definitely going to lose it, of course, but right now she's sitting at just 3.5. Well, we're looking at about 3.5% difference in terms of the popular vote. That's massive. Also, let's have a look at Nevada. We have, well, not all of it has been reported yet, but we can see that the lead for Donald Trump right now is 4.7% in Nevada. Nevada was supposed to be, remember guys, I hope you guys remember, even if you have a look at the polling market, that's supposed to be a betting market, right? And generally all the other betting markets had Kamala Harris tied with Donald Trump in Nevada. That was something no one was expecting, and well, that was definitely also not called for. But yes, Nevada actually had a bigger margin of victory for Donald Trump than New Jersey had for Kamala Harris. And if I had to say, I think New Jersey, if I had to really predict anything, I think New Jersey is going to vote for, well, if I had to say, I would say that if there is one solid state that's going to get flipped, it's probably going to be New Jersey, and it's probably going to be also New York. There are going to be some attempts in New York, because if they actually get New York, it's not over, but well, if Democrats are not able to sign any other major solid states like Florida or Texas, yeah, they definitely lose next election as well. But look at Texas, look at Florida, unbelievable margins. 14% in Texas, 13% in Florida, and 15.2% in Alaska. That's crazy. That was unbelievable. In terms of the solid states, they just did as expected, even better. I have to say they did better. Florida, Texas, Alaska did absolutely great for Donald Trump. And also Arizona was pretty close, closer than we thought. And there's some urban areas in Arizona that's left. But yes, of course, Donald Trump is going to win Arizona. There's no doubt about that. And also, if you have a look at North Carolina, that was also close, and Georgia was particularly close. We were not no one was actually, well, a lot of people were looking for Georgia to flip for Kamala Harris, but I mean, well, the polls actually underestimated Kamala Harris in Georgia. That's the only swing state that she was underestimated in, and well, they didn't underestimate her. Actually, they got it exactly precisely as it was supposed to go. That was good, but all the other ones, all the other states were underestimated. The only pollster that got the popular vote right, I think there was for a fraction of a time that was Rasmussen reports. Otherwise, no other pollsters got it right in terms of the popular vote. Of course, it's still to be counted. I think it's going to go below 3%. Not a lot of people talk about this. They say that that's it. He won by 3.5%. It's not going to change, but we have to admit that it's definitely going to go under 3%. Well, not definitely, but most likely, I would probably say that. And yeah, I mean, Iowa was not close. I don't know if I said that already, but Iowa was supposed to go to Kamala. The new polls that came out and had Kamala up, that was absolutely out of line, out of touch poll. And look at this. Trump won Iowa by a massive margin. Great margin, almost solid margin. And also bigger margin than Ohio, for example, right? If I'm not mistaken. Yes. And Wisconsin, Michigan both went to Trump. Michigan was not supposed to, but let's look at Wisconsin, which also went to Trump by a very small margin. As I was saying, Milwaukee and also other cities in Wisconsin have a lot of universities, have a lot of young voters, liberals. They were supposed to vote for Trump. I was saying that as well. We actually had Michigan as a better state for Trump, even though it's often considered the most liberal from the three Rust Belt states, swing states here. Pennsylvania obviously went to Trump. Elon Musk was doing a lot in Pennsylvania. Also Kansas. Well, a lot of people were saying that Kansas would, cross that 15 points margin below, but that did not happen at all. Well, Virginia, New Hampshire, both went to Kamala Harris. She did pull out a lot of money from North Carolina and but pour it into Virginia, and I think that helped her. From the campaign funding on Meta platforms, that means Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. So yeah, overall, it was a landslide in favor of Donald Trump. It was a massive, massive win for the Republicans. They were also able to secure U.S. Senate, and, well, I think the House is not over yet. Let me see. Okay. Arizona, Alaska, yeah, it's basically over. House is over, and that's also going to go to the Republicans. It was close, I have to say. A House race was close, but not as close as a lot of people were predicting it. And yeah, so yeah, we have what is the assumption then? The assumption is Donald Trump won by a landslide. That's what it is. He won all of the swing states. I think we can say that at this point. And he was also able to chip away some votes from major blue states like Illinois, New York, and New Jersey. New Jersey particularly was something surprising to me. I think that these states are going to be vulnerable next cycle. If you guys are interested in that, it's definitely going to be very close race, at least in New Jersey. It's basically a swing state by the definition when you have a look at this margin. So yeah, we can just say that Trump won by a landslide. The population of the United States voted for Donald Trump. Democrats would be saying that, okay, well, let's say they won the popular vote, they would say that the Electoral College should be completely removed from the U.S. election. There was a lot of talk about that before. Obviously, not anyone with common sense would talk about it, but, well, it looks like we have it, because why would you not talk about Electoral College and just go over that? Well, if you have Wyoming with a lot of natural resources and the economic output that mostly benefits the federal level of, the country's federal level and the federal budget, and that's what Wyoming is, and I think that's why it should have the same electoral votes as Delaware. That's what I think. And yes, the electoral system is great in terms of the economic contribution. Also area, right? Wyoming is massive, probably 100 or 200 times bigger than Delaware. So yeah, you have it. That's the electoral system, and they would definitely complain, but we would be complaining about it if they had won the popular vote, but Trump won by a landslide. There's not going to be any complaining. There's not going to be any protest, riots. I don't see it happening. There was no rigging. I assure you guys, there was none. So yeah, congrats to all of you who were supporting Trump, and if you guys were supporting the Democratic candidate, that's fine. I completely understand that. It's completely fine. And, well, the next race is probably going to go to Kamala Harris. Trump, sorry, which I said, I think that the next race is going to be closer. Generally, it is. The second term, I don't know how good Donald Trump is going to be this time or the next time, but I just think that this election was very close in the polls and the the betting markets, but it turned out to be a landslide that there's nothing to actually complain about or protest. Yeah, so that's it. Trump won by a landslide. Done. The elections are done. You guys can, celebrate if you want. It's up to you. Have a nice day. Peace.